Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this Town of Cedar Lake Plan Commission special work session to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first part of this meeting is a special public meeting agenda, June 1st. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kernahan?
Here.
Mr. Foreman?
Present.
Mr. Sharp?
Here.
Ms. Dessauer? Present. Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Wilkening?
Here.
Mr. Oliphant?
Here.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Salatas?
Present.
Ms. Abernathy? Present.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to look over the May 4th, 2022 special public meeting minutes? Are there any questions or concerns or corrections?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve said minutes? Got a motion by Mr. Becker,
I'll second.
second by Heather Dessauer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kernahan?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer? Yes. Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes. Motion carries. Item 2, Douglas MacArthur Elementary School rezone from R2 to PUD. Water petitioner, Crown Point Community School Corporation, 200 East North Street, Crown Point. Vicinity is 12900 Fairbanks Street, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a rezone from R2 to PUD to allow for a building addition and improvements to MacArthur Elementary School. Okay, do we have a petitioner on this item?
Good afternoon, Dion Concerns with the Skillman Corporation, 8006 Etna Street, project manager representing Crown Point Community Schools. Meeting 2 weeks ago, working through the details, and I know early last week that Attorney Austin and the school's attorney Zick got together to work through some details on the details on the PUD, and Terrain Engineering in Gibraltar also sent some comments back and forth with Don Oliphant's group, so we're here to answer any questions at this point.
Okay, thank you, Deanne. Mr. Austin, are there any, anything that's not been covered in this?
This matter is now fully legally covered.
Okay. Don, do you have any questions or concerns?
No, our letter is more applicable to the next item, but we have some contingencies which are really just some cleanup issues in engineering.
Okay, Mr. Salatas, anything?
Same as Attorney Austin, this is good to go.
Good to go. Okay. Heather, questions? Chuck?
No, sir.
Don?
Good.
No. Any questions from the commission? Okay.
No.
All right, I guess, would someone like to make a motion? Recommendation to the town council regarding the rezone from R2 to a PUD, Douglas MacArthur Elementary School, vicinity 12900 Fairbanks Street, Cedar Lake.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
could you also solicit the approval of the development plan, development agreement, which are appended documents to the ordinance and are integral parts of same?
Okay, the motion that I requested should include the developmental documents as described by Mr. Austin.
They're attached as exhibits to ordinance 1419, which is before you, and there's a date of 6/1/22. Hot off the presses.
6/1/22,
That includes our letter too.
1419. Okay, that sounds pretty complete. Mr. Becker, would you like to amend your motion? Okay. Mr. Becker has amended his motion to include all discussed. Heather?
I'll second that.
Okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Becker, second by Mrs. Dessauer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kernahan?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer? Yes. Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes. Motion carries. Okay. That was painless. Item 3, Douglas MacArthur Elementary School site plan approval. Mr. Austin, is that in order?
It is, and this is an exhibit to the ordinance that you just recommended favorably to the council. It's one of those appended exhibit documents.
Okay. Dion, is there anything that's out there hanging on this?
No, just any comments from Mr. Oliphant, you know, and I know he's been working with Drake Engineering, so we'll work through any of the details.
Yeah, we have minor items that are done our May 24th letter. That's stuff that we
Okay.
can hash out here.
All right, what are those items?
Some clarifications on how we're going to do the curb, since we're essentially cutting into existing pavement. So just add some notes to their plans. There was an error on elevation we pointed out. We noted the water main extension will essentially be a dead line when installed. And then just notes for an MS water fee, clarification on water main easement provision on the plat itself, and then performance letter of credit will be determined under final plat.
Okay, so there's still a few things to work through. Does anybody have any questions? Chris?
Don, did you see Don Faringa's letter today?
I saw it today, I just haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, I believe he did respond to
Okay.
those comments.
Yeah, I mean, they're minor.
Yeah, very much.
So we're real close on this.
Okay.
And having this complete and ready in 2 weeks is highly probable.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I think we got resubmittal at 4:15 this afternoon. Okay. Which I trust that these are addressed in that still.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I would recommend to the town council next Tuesday night that their consideration of this ordinance on their agenda be taken, and that they withhold signatures on approval of the ordinance pending these items being addressed.
Okay. Does everyone understand Mr. Austin's suggestions?
Does that need to be added to the motion as well?
It could be,
Can we just reference your comments for that?
could.
Mr. Sharp, any thoughts, questions? Anyone else? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Will this, will we still be allowed to continue moving forward submitting a building permit?
I believe so. Yeah.
Submission and approval are two different things, but the submission should be properly taken in.
You understand what we're getting at. This will be, signatures will be withheld until these things are addressed.
And we have a week till next town council. I'll look at trying to resubmit as fast as possible to alleviate anything, any complications that council wants. I mean, the items are super small, it will take me no time to look at them.
Okay, so said differently, and I'll ask you. I received your email Friday, so we're able to start site work.
Yep.
And that's the most critical piece that we need to get started.
Yeah, you can start mass grading and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Demolition. We need to get in the building and start demolition as well. And a building permit is typically required for footings and foundations, which won't start until later in July, but I'm just trying to get to the finish line, is where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, if you want to pull demo permit.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Mr. Austin's suggestion of withholding signatures is not going to affect his timeline.
No,
For this portion of the
for
project.
this portion of it,
Okay. Right.
Site work.
I would doubt that these items will be addressed, they should be addressed very quickly.
Okay.
The fact that, it's not a big deal in my opinion.
All right. Good? Good. All right.
So then, can we pass a motion contingent on these items?
I think Heather just suggested that motion was.
Yeah, but I didn't hear it, so.
Yep.
I haven't had a chance to see that into it, but I'm getting there.
So, everybody understands what we're up to here. So, withholding of signatures is a piece that'll pull this all together.
From the site plan.
Precisely. And this is another recommendation of the town council.
No.
No, this is your approval, but it is part of the ordinance. So it's encapsulated within that ordinance.
Okay. All right, Heather?
I'll take a stab at it.
Okay, cheers.
I would like to I would like to approve the site plan approval for Douglas MacArthur Elementary School, keeping in mind the developmental documents as described by Attorney Austin, also the exhibits, Don's comments being addressed and taken care of, and that council would hold signatures until those are taken care of.
Perfect. I like it. Okay, we have a motion by,
He doesn't have to say it all over again?
I can't write that fast. Okay, we have a motion by Heather on item 3, site plan approval with some contingencies. We have a second, seconded by Mr. Becker. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Stepfauer?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes.
Mr. Welkenick?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Item 4, Beacon Point, Unit 4, performance letter of credit that expires June 11th, 2022. Mr. Slot, or sorry, Don, where we're at with this?
Nowhere. They were forwarded our Unit 4 repairs letter again in March, and they were forwarded again yesterday, and I haven't heard anything about it yet. It would be my recommendation that you set a poll date sometime next week, and I'll try to get Shelley on the horn. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, you shouldn't have to chase after them at this point, right?
I'm sorry.
No.
So let's just go.
I think that some correspondence in email telling them what day it will be pulled on.
They're aware of it. They approached me to get the remaining punch list stuff back in March because they have a new field guy. And I resent them and copied them on the same exact email chain from last year.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what's going on. I'll keep reaching out to them, but
Well,
it expires on the 11th, so your pull date's got to be somewhere probably Tuesday, Wednesday of next week.
yeah.
At the latest.
The latest.
At the latest.
Is it 7 days or 5 on those?
Well, it depends how the calendar falls.
11th is Saturday.
What was this,
Well,
It's a Monday.
you have plenty to do, Don, chase the people down about their own, responsibilities.
I mean, this has been hanging out, so it shouldn't be. I think we reviewed it at a lower rate, less than 25%, to keep it in performance last year.
Okay, I
They're
think.
aware of it.
All right. I guess, is Cliff and John zooming?
That's John.
Okay. I would ask that you try to correspond with them one more time. Send them something with a date, and if they,
Mr. President?
yes.
Chris, what communications have come out of the town to,
On this particular, I've met emails from Don specifically.
so, Don, you've been in regular communication with them?
Yeah, I mean, they reached out to me in March to clarify what was remaining.
May I suggest a 3-sentence note email to them suggesting this has been discussed, the deadline's coming, and on June 5th, it'll be pulled.
I mean, yeah, I sent that to him yesterday. It's like,
6th, Monday.
Oh, I'm sorry, Monday, I'm sorry.
I like that idea. Yeah, just one more heads up.
Well, it's only fair, but it's also right.
Yeah.
They need to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
Maybe they're taking a long weekend.
you know,
Okay. Everybody clear on this? Any concerns?
No.
Okay. Mr. Foreman, any concerns on this item?
I do not, but before you end the meeting, I did have something I wanted to ask.
Is it regarding the agenda item we're talking about?
Not this particular one, the one prior to, so I just wanted to mention something for legal. So as
Okay.
far as this goes, I'm good.
Okay, well, if you want to back up real quick, then let's just get it done.
Sure. Mr. Austin, I believe that I probably should not have voted since I had to electronically Zoom at the last meeting. can we strike my vote from the record since we still have that public meeting open?
No, I wouldn't strike it. I would note it in the minutes that your vote was made but was not properly made, and remove it from the tally.
What, the Zoom meeting that we're having now with them?
Yes.
He can't vote?
He was on Zoom the last meeting, and by our electronic meeting policy ordinance, you can't have two consecutive misses. So this one he would be precluded from voting on.
Chris, I know we've talked about this in writing. Can you provide a copy to Plan Commission, BZA, Storm Board, Town Council, the members, so they have that ordinance in hand?
That was done a week after we passed it, but I can recirculate it again.
I think that's important so that, you know, it helps people.
I guess I have to ask, who's keeping that, who's keeping those tabs? Mrs., not Mrs.
I keep track of all attendances.
You're taking care of all that?
And when anybody joins via Zoom, it is notated on your attendance sheet. My question, Mr. Austin, is, do I notate for all Mr. Foreman's votes and include them in the minutes?
Well, I'm hoping you won't have to vote anymore tonight. It's a work study. John, did you catch that?
I sure did, yeah. And that was the main reason I wanted to be on, and I forgot I wasn't supposed to cast my votes for that.
I'll meet you, John, when you have to vote. Just kidding.
Okay, you good, John?
I'm 100% good, thank you.
All right. Okay, this is the end of the agenda for the special public meeting. Oh, sorry.
Point 4.
Yeah. Would anyone like to make a motion on the performance letter credit?
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we set a poll date of June 6th. And I'd also just like to notate that we will be sending them one final email with our intentions to poll on June 6th.
Thank you, Heather.
You know, Donna sent them
June 5th.
multiple emails. I think the 5th is Sunday.
6 is Monday.
You're right.
I got it.
D-Day.
Hey, Don, thanks for paying attention.
That's what we're here for.
Okay, we have a motion by Heather Dessauer to poll on item 4, letter of credit, and 6/6/22. Do you have a second? Second by Mr. Becker. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Duffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes.
Mr. Wilkening?
Yes. Motion carries. That concludes the agenda items.
Question first.
Yeah.
Out of this, John voted on the minutes and he voted on the, item number 2 also, so, I mean, his vote should be noted on everything he voted on tonight.
It will be.
Okay.
That Zoom violation? Okay. Anything else, Mr. Ford?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. We do have a little time for public comment. Is there any public comment on any of these items? On the special public meeting? Any public comment? Any Zoomers?
No, sir.
No, just Cliff and John, okay. All right, at this time, I will adjourn the special public meeting for June 1st, and we will roll into the work session of the same evening. Okay. Let's see, we'll call this to order at 7:20. I don't think we need to pledge the flag again. Probably should do the roll call one more time.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Foreman?
Zoom.
Am I allowed to be here?
Yeah, you just can't talk
You can't vote.
or vote.
You can talk.
Got that.
Mr. Sharp?
Here.
Ms. Duffbauer?
Present.
Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Wilkening?
Here.
Mr. Oliphant,
Here?
Mr. Austin,
Present.
Mr. Solariss,
Present.
Ms. Abernathy, present.
Thank you very much. Item 1, CLBD South LLC, final plat for an 18-lot commercial and light industrial subdivision. The owner of CLBD South LLC, P.O. Box 488, Dyer. And LLC 14967 West 145th Avenue, Cedar Lake. Vicinity is 13805 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake. The request is, petitioner's requesting a final plat for an 18-lot commercial light industrial subdivision. Evening, Russ.
Evening. Russ Posman, DVG, I'm with Trot Line Road, Concord, here with the owner, Andrew Baltimore, here to answer any questions concerning the final plat.
Okay. Mr. Oliphant, how dialed in is this?
We're getting there. So, it's my understanding all the testing and inspections have passed for water, sanitary, and sewer. We issued a as-built letter maybe a week and a half ago. Got some items to work out on that. We're still reviewing the plat, and we're kind of getting together on our letter of credit values for the performance, potentially maintenance letter of credit.
Okay. Is this something that'll be ready in 2 weeks?
Maybe.
Concerning the as-built, my client has already reworked some of the as-built stuff. We're going to pick that up, get that dealt with. The reviewing of the plat, I believe, is on your guys' end and
Yep.
back to us. The letter of credit, I mean, I don't see why we can't work through that.
And we got Jack Hole took a stab at it on Friday. We requested some executed contracts to validate some of the stuff that's already in the ground. Majority of the infrastructure's in, asphalt's done. So it's just a matter of getting through some of this administrative type work.
Okay. You fairly certain? You're gonna
Yes,
pull this off?
we're diligently working, the owner is diligently working, obviously he's, as of yesterday, he reworked some of the pond that was requested, so we're on it.
Okay. You know our feelings on the deadlines.
I always do,
Okay.
always do.
All right. And it's for some of our convenience and especially for Mr. Oliphant's convenience. Mr. Austin?
I have some water utility matters I'm working on, and I expect that those will be final or near final when we next meet. But I did discuss this matter with Neil Sinstead this evening with Chris, and we're getting data from him and information from him so we can put together some language and documentation regarding that utility and its relationship to us.
Is that on a timeline to be complete in 2 weeks?
I don't know, Neil Sinstead?
Maybe.
I called
Well,
as soon as I knew what I needed to know, I called him this evening.
I talked to him last night, and he talks fast and walks fast, but,
He's from Purdue.
okay.
I'm a BU grad, so I can follow all this, don't you worry.
It's just the best definition for Neil. He's from Purdue.
His list of things is nowhere near like yours, Don. And, we agreed on that.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
It's an important item, this water utility deal, getting the details and specifications and all of that right are important right now. They'll tie themselves into the final plat, and ultimately there'll be a written agreement, conveyance of easements, the things that have the bill of sale, so.
Okay. Chris, you, like the timeline this is on?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. Any commissioners have any questions?
No, sir.
No? Don, any last thoughts?
Nope.
Okay. I guess,
Get it done,
we're
right?
close.
Get it done.
Close, yes, sir. Get her done. Okay, guess we're good. Thanks, Russ.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Item 2 on the work study session is the Dykstra's first edition rezone and preliminary plat for one lot subdivision. Owner R&R Properties, Rich Dykstra. 11003 Lake Central Drive, St. John. Petitioner Rich Dykstra, 11,003 Lake Central Drive, St. John. The vicinity is approximately 200 feet west of Morse on the north side of 136th Woodland Shores addition parcel about lots I and J. Petitioner is requesting a rezone from B2 to R2 at preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision. Is there a petitioner here for this item? Anyone, many correspondence, many kinds with, Rich Dykstra?
Met with them personally, told them that they should be here, not sure why they're not.
Okay. Do you have any submittals done from them that you've looked over, any letters that have been completed?
We're currently still looking at their one lot stuff, but it's gonna be pretty typical of one lot stuff. It's 100 by 160 portion of land, it's already dedicated right away. It's simply similar to the one to the west further down the street on the corner. It's an outlot, it doesn't have an actual lot number. The primary reason for planning it and the rezone is what we discussed at the last work session about it being, you know, reclassified under the zoning map as, you know, business versus residential.
Okay. Is everyone comfortable, hypothetically, if this gentleman shows up in 2 weeks and everything's in order?
Mr. President, I don't, you know how I feel about people not showing and not calling.
Right.
I also don't feel that we should be spending our valuable time discussing this evening, since he didn't have the courtesy to show up for us.
Fair enough.
So if it was my decision, I would say we curb this for now until he comes in front of us again.
I have one comment about this property.
Hang on. Is everyone comfortable with deferring this item? If that's a choice.
I think you just remove it from your agenda.
Oh, okay.
Deferral.
Would everyone be comfortable with removing it from the agenda?
I'd like to hear what Chuck had to say, wanted to say.
Well, I got a hunch I know what Chuck's got to say. Does it have to do with removing it from the agenda?
No.
Okay, all right, hold on to it. I gotta go, I can see smoke coming. Okay, would anyone like to make a motion that we remove this from the agenda?
It's not a work session. It's a
I'm
work
sorry.
session.
So, can we not put it on the next, and not put it on in 2 weeks?
Mr. President.
Or consider an update item?
Has this been the subject of a public hearing notice?
I believe it has, yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
published?
it's a rezone, so they would have to have made their public.
Well, that's why I asked if this is so close to being complete. If
Well,
everything's,
I don't know about that, but I know about the procedure, legality.
Yeah, they got a parcel list. Yeah, yeah.
He did email me a proof of publication in the newspaper. I have not received the green certified mailers yet, the white receipt, mailing receipt, in regards to this property.
Well, when you come back in 2 weeks, when you have a public meeting where you can motion, second, and vote, any of the above are available to you. Defer, remove, table, and you can do nearly anything you want to do with it.
the reason I asked about if everything is good and clean by the deadline, is everyone comfortable with proceeding with voting on this item? Don said it's relatively simple. Maybe everything is complete as it needs to be. Is that the case, Don?
I mean, we haven't gotten to our first review yet, so.
So you have not?
No.
Okay. All right.
So, it should be rather simple. Smersak's pretty, he knows what we want. Just
Okay.
looking at it now more, it should be okay. So,
They're not requesting any waivers. They know that they're going to put in sidewalk and all that.
yeah.
All right.
He's not building anything yet, right?
No, they will be putting a house on there.
Yeah, but he has to come, that's a whole different ballgame. So
Yeah.
all he wants to do is change make a one-lot subdivision and change the zoning.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't see why there would be much we'd have to look at anyway.
That's why I thought if it's turned in on the deadline, and by the deadline, and it's complete, I don't want to be hashing out details in a meeting. That's not how we do things.
Well, I agree with Heather, that if they don't have the common decency and courtesy to appear before us, they don't deserve our undivided attention.
I totally agree, which is why I brought up in 2 weeks, if everything is good. Was this okay for them not to be here? I would have liked some correspondence of some kind.
They had, the real estate guy, Ken Beach was here.
Yes, I recall. Yeah.
Yeah, both Ken and the property owner were here for the concept meeting, at the last work session.
So,
Here today.
Mr. Becker, do you have a comment or some concerns regarding the property?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
has to do with Woodland Shores. Subdivision's already known to have flooding problems. It's undersized in the storm sewer. It's an outlot. It's not already plotted. It's an outlot. So you're gonna add an additional house, which you already did downstream before, with a house, driveway. It's gonna add more water runoff. Until we fix the storm sewer issues in that subdivision, why are we approving, or why are we considering approving another house put there?
Well, hang on one second. Mr. Oliphant, would this property fall in the same umbrella as the other one that was in a similar fashion in the vicinity where it has some...
To a point.
It had some nomenclature that called it out as needing a triple review?
I mean, the other one was much closer to the location of the issues.
Well,
Pretty far east.
well,
It actually drains to a small low area before it even gets to the real problem. So,
But anything past that speed limit sign on 136th Place is gonna drain towards the west.
yes, I didn't say it didn't.
Well, I'm saying, it's gonna add to the flooding problem. It's gonna add more water runoff to the same infrastructure that's already undersized.
It goes towards the infrastructure, yes. The other one
And
was
which is-
immediately adjacent.
Correct.
This one is,
But it's already,
12 lots.
it's already undersized before we even add these two properties.
I understand that.
So why do we continue to keep adding more? If we haven't fixed the problem yet? If it's already undersized before we did anything, you know,
I don't think that should keep us from moving forward with making this a one-lot subdivision, because he's not before us to build anything. At the time he comes before us to build, is the time when we should bring all...
because the preliminary plat, the
preliminary plat.
preliminary plat is where the details come in. That's the most important one. Am I correct, Dave?
That's the law.
It's not the final, it's very beginning stages. That's where the details come in.
Yeah.
So if we approve this, and we already know there is a flooding problem, who's gonna be legally,
If there's...
involved?
Okay, so that's, what Mr. Becker is referring to is not what's written in print here. However, Mr. Dykstra, whoever decides they want to build there, they will have to deal with their stormwater effects downstream.
I mean, typically, it's a recommendation of us on these single lots that you waive stormwater detention requirements. You don't have to waive them.
The adjacent property...
You're just gonna have a really small detention basin on a single lot.
Yeah, the adjacent property we were talking about, though, before, there was some detail added to that, wasn't there? on the
Well-
kind of detail?
That one could short circuit the area if we drained it properly. You know, that's something we can't really know until we get a building permit for it. We could drain all the gutter drains to the street, try to keep as much runoff off that back portion. The real issue area is right next to that lot, away from it. This one primarily drains west. Some you could drain east towards Morse.
There's no way you can drain through Morse.
Well, I'm looking at the contours right now, Chuck. It's close to the high spot. But, I mean, this is substantially far. It has to drain to a depressional area, go through essentially a clay tile system, and then that gets down to the area, the lowest area of it. This is substantially far from it.
But it connects to the same system.
Yes, that's what I said, Chuck.
Well, I just
Okay.
want to get this
All right.
clear to everybody.
This is, it's, we noted in the minutes, Mr. Becker's concerns, and, we will, see what shows up in 2 weeks. This is just for the rezone though.
No,
It's been a preliminary plat.
Preliminary plat, B2 to R2, for one lot subdivision. And again, make sure this is in minutes for public record purposes. Done?
Sure.
Okay. Item 3, NYBY Development Corporation's preliminary plat for one lot subdivision and site plan. NYBY Developmental Corporation, 1370 Dune Meadows Drive, Porter, Indiana, 46304, vicinities 9710, west 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for one lot subdivision and site plan. Good evening.
Good evening. Perfect timing.
It was pretty impeccable, yes, sir. Yes, sir, it was.
And we're here tonight at the study session for, the one lot subdivision and for the, site plan. I've been over, it's been submitted, we got a review letter from Don, Friday afternoon, and I've got a meeting with him tomorrow to kind of go over a few things. I just want to touch base with him.
Would you, state your name and...
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Doug Homeyer with McMahon and Associates.
Thank you.
I'm the engineer and surveyor of record for the project. And behind me,
David Lee, I'm the owner of the parcels.
Marty Zacher, I'll be operating a business, MTI Service Center.
Okay. You'll be operating that business, or you
Yeah.
operate all business?
Well, I'll operate all of them, yes.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Doug, sorry.
okay. When we were here last, everybody saw the site plan, no real changes to it. There was, I guess, and I don't want to call it a discrepancy, but when this was submitted back in February, the site plan and one lot subdivision was to be heard on the old ordinance, not the new updated one. But since things has transpired that we're up, I believe the 9th of this month for waivers, 15th? No. When is the BJ meeting?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday, tonight. And we applied for a waiver for parking in the front setback because we originally had a 30-foot setback, and they said, well, the new setback is 50, so we changed it to 50, and we're asking for a side yard setback. Regardless, we're always going to need the side yard setback. And I think we need to, want me to bring up the lot issue?
Yeah, I mean.
We were told today, we were under the impression, being under the old ordinance, is that the difference in our zoning is that we're okay with the lot size for that ordinance, and now the new zoning requires 40,000 square feet for our zoning, and we have a little over 23,000. And, we are under the impression that we didn't need to ask for a variance
For
for
the
that.
lot. And I went back to the meeting from April 6th and actually went through it, and I wrote down the times to it, like 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 40 seconds. It was asked if, since we petitioned before the new ordinance took effect, if we were allowed to be under the old ordinance. And the attorney here
Should be the
said,
old ordinance.
yes, you do need to follow it.
It should be the old one, because your application's dated late February.
Yes, so that's what we're saying.
Hold on.
BZA application.
Hold on. Go ahead, Chris.
And then again, we discussed.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on. What did you say, Chris?
The Plan Commission application was made in February 24th. The BZA application was made in April.
But we submitted the BZA application after our April meeting, which we discussed, and in the meeting, we also discussed the 3 variances that you wanted us to request. That was the side yard setback, the parking
Hold on.
lot setback.
Hold on. We didn't request, you request those.
Well, it was just discussed at that point.
It was discussed as a concept.
And it was
And
also,
concept means it's feasible,
okay,
okay? That's all it means.
okay.
There was a lot of he said, she said regarding this. Where are we at with the dates? Are they in the old, or are they in the new? Where are we at?
I think you're on either side of the,
Yeah, you've got 2 different things going on here. An attempt to merge them into the same path. The ordinance changed on March 1st. This application, part of this application, the subdivision application, I guess, was filed February 24th. So they want the benefit of both sides of our ordinances. We obviously changed our ordinances to meet current and modern standards, but they needed BZA variances before they can get to that decision by the Plan Commission. My recommendation would be come to the public hearing at the BZA and see what happens. We don't know what the BZA will do with the variance applications, and those are dependent or necessary for this project, at least as presented conceptually, to proceed.
Yeah, we do seem to have the buggy before the horse here.
And if I may speak, we would have applied for that, because we applied for all the other variances. And if we were told you also need the lot one, we could apply for that, and it's already been advertised, all the mailings have been sent out, but we were under the impression we didn't need the lot size.
well, I think the initial impression was that both applications were filed before April 1st.
And what you sent me didn't have site plan checked off on that application.
Yes, can I just ask that you go
That's a
back
planning
and
application,
re-listen
not
to
a
the
BZA
meeting?
application.
Hold on, one person at a time.
I'm good with that.
The only thing in our packet right now is a planning application. It has a submittal date of February 24th. I think everybody was under the impression that the BZA application also was dated the same.
I got the BZA, thank you. April 14th is when it was submitted.
That's a problem. Because that changes it. It's just, I don't know how many waivers that add, or variances that would add.
It sounded like 3. But
Well, they were already gonna have to do variances, no matter which one they were under.
variances
Yes,
or
it is.
waivers?
Variances. They were still gonna need the front yard setback,
Okay.
parking, side yard,
Yes.
and then also the rear yard, I think, because your building's in the rear. And that hasn't changed either one.
Yeah, our site plan itself did not change at all from our
Yeah.
first submittal to our second. We just didn't know we needed the variances, so when we submitted our first submittal in February, there was no variances attached to it. But nothing changed as far as the site plan goes from when it was submitted in February to the variances we requested in April.
Well, I think all the side yard and front yard, that's in both ordinances. The only thing that's changed is the lot. So,
Well, and if the information provided by former town staff was incomplete or incorrect, that doesn't change that the law exists that has to be followed, and we have to follow the law.
Thought this was gonna be separate.
matter scheduled, it sounds like, for the BZA public hearings next week. Come to the public hearings and prosecute your case.
They're already on the agenda. However, what Doug has alluded to is that they will be short one variance request.
Yep.
That's where we're at with this?
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly it.
So perhaps then, you should, come to the meeting and,
Plead our
give
case.
the first tree a try, see what comes of it. I do have to ask though, this is work session. You buy a piece of property, you know how big it is, and then the assumption that you wanna put so much stuff on it that you have a hardship on a brand new vacant piece of property. I'm not understanding some of that. Just something to think about.
I guess what would have also been there is when Dave brought it in to the staff of the town and said, this is what I'd like to do. Yeah, this will be okay, we don't have a problem with it. If not, they would have to downsize the building and said, okay, no, we don't like that, and that. It wasn't said way back early on, or we would have revised the entire site plan from day one.
Well, I understand exactly what you're telling me. But again, when you present something to us or to staff or anybody else, it's a concept, it's feasible. What you need to get it done is quite a different story. I don't know who told you what, but if you're on the agenda for next Thursday, then you probably should stick with those three things. Obviously, the date of some of these documents puts you in a fourth variance request. I don't know, can't really add it. It's too late to add now, so.
Jerry, can I ask a question?
Sure.
You said next Thursday we should plead our case. Would that also be pleading the case for the lot size? Because
Whatever the three variances are on that agenda, three, right?
the three that have been
Three.
advertised.
Yeah, three that have been advertised, yes.
Because according to Chris, today talking to him, if it's mandated and no matter what, we will never get this project approved without going for the variance for the lot size, that has to be filed by Friday to be on the July meeting. So,
Okay,
see?
I got you.
Friday by noon.
I got you Friday by noon.
Oh, okay, no.
Yeah.
Noon is the deadline for all applications.
Okay, that's good to know, because if I would have brought it over here, we would have got here at 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, like Don
That's
Trent.
been a problem.
Or 12:59.
Yeah. We're just trying to figure out where we stand.
No, I understand, and I'm learning a little bit more of this like you are. Heather, Bob, any thoughts? Chuck? Mr. Kapora? No. Mr. Ross? No? Okay. Nobody has any questions or comments. You guys have anything else?
Yes, being that we now know coming here tonight, for no way out of it, we have to apply for the lot reduction waiver, or variance, correct?
That's what it's sounding like to me.
So we need to get that in by Friday before noon.
Right.
That will put us on July's BZA agenda. Will this even be heard in 2 weeks? Because we get the other ones technically, if all goes well, approved next Thursday, but you can't physically do, would you look at the site plan, or will that be heard then in July?
What's the timeline for this? If he was able to get all of the,
It'll be tight. And yeah, if you got it in, any motion would have to contingent on that fourth waiver or variance being approved, otherwise it wouldn't work. And that's plat and site plan. You couldn't plat it.
it'll all be
Yeah,
contingent.
it'll all be contingent. So, that would be the only way you could,
So
Even if
technically, we could still approve, hypothetically, we could approve in 2 weeks contingent on the BZA with that fourth.
It was gonna have to be
Correct.
Yeah.
You're ready.
So, the point I'm getting at, if 2 weeks from tonight, if we could at least get a contingency approval on the primary plat, could we, as we move forward with the next, because we can't build or do anything till we get it final platted and recorded, correct? So we could at least, in 2 weeks, get the primary plat moving with a contingent approval, so that we could come back in July, get final plat approval and site plan approval. Would that make sense?
Well, Thursday, you're gonna find out on your 3 variances, because
Yeah.
you'll be here next Thursday. So with that information.
If all goes well next Thursday.
As long as it's favorable, we'll be okay with you coming back in 2 weeks. The only thing outstanding will be the lot size. So it's important you show up at the BZA next week.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and then, like the rest of them been saying.
Hey, we gotta get through this, and we're meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. But
We
that's
have
the-
till next Friday at noon to get something on the agenda for 2 weeks.
This Friday at noon.
Well, no, for
Okay.
getting it on the plan commission in 2
Yeah.
weeks. So we got 7 days to work
Yeah,
through everything.
as I told you, Kevin's on vacation next week,
Yeah.
so no drafting's coming out of my office.
That's probably not gonna happen.
So that's why if we don't get everything resolved by Friday for the site plan, I'm hoping that if next Thursday, everything goes well at the BZA, we could come back in 2 weeks and entertain at least a motion for the primary plat, because we're not gonna do anything with the site plan anyway till we get secondary plat. You're not gonna be able to do anything. So that's what I'm hoping for, to keep this moving along in a timely fashion.
Okay, we have a saying around here that, you know, your timeline's not necessarily our timeline. We're trying to work through this, though.
Sure.
Don, how much, wasn't there a variance for the north side of the property?
The
Wasn't there a
three
variance?
variances we noted in our letter was building was in the rear yard, building was in the western side yard, and parking in the front yard.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, the front yard has changed since, I think, staff reviewed it. It's a 50-foot front yard, but that still doesn't matter. It's still parking.
The building itself is more than
Yeah.
50 feet behind the front, so the building is not over the front setback.
Yeah.
But one parking spot was over the 30-foot building line by like 2 feet.
Now it's a couple.
And now
40
pretty
foot.
much the whole front parking in front of the building now sits in front of the 50-foot setback. So we just changed it from,
133rd is an FAU route, so it's a much wider right of way.
Okay. All right, I asked because I think we probably should be sensitive to that easement that's on the north side of this proposed building.
The easement or the setback?
There's an easement,
There's a couple
east and
easements
west back through there, right?
Yeah, there's an existing utility easement which they're proposing to simply overlay with a slightly larger one just to encompass some of the existing utilities back there. There's a lot back there. There's water,
Right.
sewer,
Yeah,
telephone, cable.
we're 17 feet off the rear wall.
Okay. All right.
Mr. President, may I?
Yes, please.
What is the zone currently?
D3.
C3? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Salatas, would you, make sure that one or all these gentlemen get the BZA criteria again regarding, what criteria we make decisions on,
Oh, the hardship?
the hardship?
Yeah.
All the 4 or 5, bits and pieces, you may already have those, but just so nobody's confused next Thursday about what's required is in presentation. There's laws, guidelines we have to follow. So, I want to make sure you guys have that. Mr. Sharp, any thoughts?
Not this time, Don needs to have enough time to
Yeah.
get to the next Friday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if Kevin's not drafting anything next week, then
He's on vacation.
I think we
so
know what
we
our
gotta,
answer is.
yeah, because I'm gonna meet with you at 1, and we'll go over your punch
Yeah.
list of things that And I don't think I'll get all that done in one day.
Yeah.
Unless I burn more than the midnight oil.
You don't work Sunday mornings at 6 a.m. like Don does?
I used to 30 years ago, but,
Okay, gentlemen, I guess, you guys have no more questions, we have no more questions. Mr. Slatus?
Nothing to do.
Okay. All right.
thank you for your time.
Thank you. Have a good night, Doug. Yes, sir.
From what I can tell, nobody from the monastery lives there. Or monastery lives north, so.
Was this some more concept discussion?
Yeah, this was actually a request from the planning commission to have them come in to pitch the concept because them developing their subdivision could potentially help us alleviate issues in the surrounding area that we wanted to make sure.
Like sanitary sewer?
Like sanitary sewer.
What's that address? 126 what?
Something like that.
Okay.
125-46,
125-46, gosh, okay. How could I forget?
It may or may not be in that neighborhood.
Exactly spot on.
May or may not.
Dave may also have the tax ID number memorized.
I dumped enough golf.
You people may have the tax ID number memorized. Okay, excuse me for a minute. I've, too many papers. Okay, who's here from, so they were going to, make some modifications or grant us some easements?
We didn't get that far.
We didn't get that far.
Okay,
The
all right,
father,
that's the goal.
yeah, whichever way is the best path forward to minimize our problems in the area and make sure that the subdivision's developing properly.
Is, that going to, they were gonna use, their old size lots too, right? What was originally laid out?
Yes.
They weren't 10,000, what were they?
7,500?
80 by,
No, I think there were 80s.
8,000.
There wasn't really too much information from that meeting.
Well, yes,
No.
except that he was gonna leave everything
80 by 115.
kind of, oh, 80 by 115, okay.
If my memory serves me correctly, he had to go back and talk to his dad.
Yes, it was in Florida at the time, and they said they would be back from Florida to make this June meeting, which they must still be in Florida, or
Right.
forgot.
Hurricane season starts tomorrow.
Okay, I was just kind of, reviewing in my head what was discussed. This potential sanitary sewer solution, would this all be gravity, to the lift station that's, back at this point in that property?
Well, that's the plan.
Yeah, we always
You're
prefer
smiling.
gravity in sewer systems.
Yeah, well, I'm just, that's the real question. You're smiling, is,
We
are we gonna go uphill before we go downhill?
No, we think we can do it, but we need to see the revised engineering plans to confirm it. Yes, but it all does flow to that existing lift station.
Okay. 125-46-48. I think we know the name of the lift station now. Okay, does anybody have any questions on this item? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Well, I guess I do have a question. So they're not scheduled to be in another meeting yet. They were coming here just to talk to us again and figure out what they needed to do.
I can follow up with them and request that they come to the July work session.
I
Well,
think that's up to them.
if there's some further discussion to resolve this sanitary sewer issue, an invitation certainly is in order.
Sure.
I don't know why,
I mean, I think they've got a decent amount of work to move forward.
do you have something on paper kind of in your head?
We have an internal memo, kind of differences between ordinances back then and now. So items that would have to be updated.
I'm in an engineering solution to make things
We
run
have
downhill.
a concept level plan based on the 08 plan.
Okay, all right.
But, I mean, we don't have surveys of the two houses we want to tie in, so it's
Yeah.
all dynamic, we'll call it.
Well, Don, sometimes some of us hang on your optimism. So,
I I've been in politics for a very long time, and dynamic is a really good word for that.
Fluid.
Fluid is also a good one.
I guess I have one more question.
Yes.
Is there a way we can get a copy of the 2008, their 2008 plan?
Yeah,
Do we, yeah, if
We
we
have
have
a PDF
it,
of
we
it.
can circulate one.
we have a PDF of it.
Because if they come back and start
Okay.
referencing that and we haven't looked at it, that would
It's a
be nice.
big plan set, but yeah, we'll probably just give you a couple sheets of it.
Just more like
Yeah.
the lot size and,
Yeah.
And give you the site plan of it.
thank you.
Don, does this just pretty much encompass a small easement between a couple homes? Is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be easy between two lots.
Okay.
I mean, it all comes to the fact that they're gonna have similar lot layouts. You know, they're gonna tweak it a little bit to what they wanna see, which they're totally allowed to do. They can start from scratch, they can re-engage the old engineer and, you know, start from what was approved in '08. It's really up to them.
Okay. All right, that's good news. That's good news. That's kind of why,
There was no news in that.
no, Don's expression is good news.
Well, that,
This is the best, this is,
that's not news
this
either.
this is the best swing first base hit in 50
Yeah,
years.
Jerry, they're not here, so there's no news, like, there's no good news at all.
No, nothing's
We
changed.
could not see them for another 14 years.
Oh, no, they'll be back. Have you not seen Price Real Estate?
I don't know.
I don't
I would
know.
certainly come to a meeting I was planning
Yeah.
on coming to.
You what?
I'm tired of people not showing up to meetings.
Oh, I
It's not
totally,
anything new from me.
I totally understand. I totally understand. Not sure what we can change about that.
Move right on.
Okay. Item 5, ordinance number 1418, amendment to the zoning ordinance, humane pet store ordinance.
Please, Mr. Robkin, explain this
The,
new ordinance.
The town council has requested your consideration of conducting a public hearing on an amendment to the town zoning ordinance concerning animal control regulations such that you will prohibit, or you'll recommend to them, the prohibition of the sale of puppies in puppy mills, kitties in kitty mills, and adding some definitions that describe what those are, and prohibiting the sale or the use in the town of Cedar Lake.
Well, I had no clue that this was a problem.
Huge problem.
It is. I mean, but we all know about the chickens. Those
No,
were a problem.
Go down that route.
You know, we had a chicken problem for a while, but I didn't realize the humane pet store. So,
But this isn't about a pet store. This is about individual residences being prohibited from selling.
No,
No,
businesses.
no,
This is from someone opening a business.
that's right.
that purchases, right, or,
Puppy mill generated puppies.
yeah.
Oh,
So they can open up a pet store, but like for adoption for animals that were found,
Correct.
they can't sell puppy mill puppies.
That's right.
these are like solar panels that are made by little kids. You can't buy them.
Out of curiosity, has someone come in front of us looking
Yes.
to open a pet store?
No,
Being a kid.
but there have been folks who've been in front of the council, and they were representatives of the Indiana Humane Society,
Yes.
who requested that consideration, followed by a significant amount of social media
Yeah.
presence about the topic.
Oh,
This-
okay.
This was a 45-minute conversation between two different council meetings, I believe. Rick and Bob can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was quite a lengthy discussion that it was. Spent a lot of time revolving around Randy Niemeyer's personal pet dog. However, this really got its legs when the state of Illinois passed humane pet store ordinance statewide, and the Humane Society then was under the suspicion that those companies would then come to Indiana since they were no longer welcome in Illinois. So they started a campaign here in Indiana to have local municipalities, and I believe they're trying to get the state to adopt one too, but they're starting with their locals, and I believe Dyer was the first community in
No,
The area-
Highland was involved,
Yeah.
Munster was involved,
It's
Dyer
making
was.
its way down.
Yeah, it's working its way around.
And Julie Rivera spearheaded this,
Okay.
This has to be in front of us.
It's for you.
Yeah, John.
Because you are conducting the public hearing on an amendment to the text of the zoning ordinance.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah, the puppy mill stores will end up in Lowell now.
Is it downtown, John?
Sorry about that, Chris.
I guess I give him credit for trying to stay ahead of it.
So they want us to write the language?
It's already written, John.
It's already written.
In your packet, I think.
It's in your packet.
It's in your packet.
Julie had conversation with Dave, and Dave tweaked it and, brought it forward, but it's gotta go through the plan commission first, then to the town council.
It'll be a public hearing at your next meeting, advertised.
If you're on your iPad, it is the, number 5, the very last item on the left-hand side.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's, you scroll past Dave's memo, and then there's the text of the ordinance there.
It's giving flashbacks to the animal pet cemetery.
The brown part.
Yeah.
You know, that all really ended well.
Got a house on it.
Got a house on it now, yeah. Yep, all you had to do is wait for it. All we had to do is wait for it. Okay. Any more questions about the humane pet store ordinance? Nobody? Okay. All right, update items, building regulations and fee amendments. Is that plugging along, Mr. Austin?
It is plugging along. Chris and I just talked about this. We finished a little bit of work in my office on it. There's some significant clarity needed to the draft that the previous administrator worked on before it can come to you. It's got to be clear.
Okay.
And justified.
Most of all.
Okay, item 2, item 2, Melody Hill Marina. This is an update item. You have a lot of information on this, Mr. Austin?
I have a memo for you of documents that I was provided. Don, if you don't mind passing it down. I was requested to review the town's records related to the property, Melody Hill Resort Marina business and related. These particular documents, I've listed them for you, are in my file. Finally, they were the subject of some research here internally last year and into early this year. Apparently, these were not able to be easily located. I'm not certain I know why, but in the middle of March, they arrived after a number of requests for same. And this showed kind of the condition of the property over a period of time in terms of land use activities, permits, approvals, applications, in one segment at a time. I have more. I kind of stopped here before I wasted any more time. A lot of things have occurred on this property.
Okay.
So, and the cover memo is not the documents, it's the listing of the documents in my file. If I'd have copied it, you'd all have this. So,
Okay. Well, this has been an update item for a while. Invited a lot of conversation, some not so good, some good. Is there anyone here who represents this property who would like to speak on this matter? Please come to the podium. Name and address for the record, please.
Marie Tomorrow, 13318 North Street.
This has been discussed quite a bit regarding compliances for,
I didn't get any notification.
no, I mean, it's been discussed here
Okay.
as things have moved along. Evidently, there was, and this is, I hate to say the word Jill said, but Jill had said that there was a little correspondence with you or the family regarding the upgrades and the developmental, what your plans were as this marina has progressed. And Jill had nothing else before she left. I mean, she had very little other than what's been given here. So I guess the question is, what is your intent of getting this in compliance as far as a business?
What do we need to, what are the, I don't know what we don't, haven't complied with yet.
Well, I didn't want to turn this into a court kind of arrangement.
Well, can I have the list of infractions, and in this way we can discuss it, and I could have time to look over it and
Yeah.
respond to it?
I don't know where would we start with this list. I mean, you're more than welcome to this information here.
Okay.
This is what has brought us to, the business or lack of business compliance. The DNR permit mentioned the compliance with the authority having jurisdiction, of which I'm not sure there's any. So we're trying to get this on track.
Okay, we do have permits.
Yes, but those permits also say something regarding local approvals and permitting or something to that effect. It wasn't totally exclusive of that. Mr. Miller and I had some conversations some time ago. All of us understand that the town doesn't control the lake, but the business aspect of things and the congestion it causes on occasion is a concern. So that's what we're trying to kind of sort out. I'm not sure if Natalie was working real tight with Jill on what the future plans were. I heard something about a restaurant not too long ago. It was actually something on paper. I'm not sure
Yeah, Natalie was working with Jill.
Oh, okay, all right. That's kind of where we're at here. Mr. Slatus, is there a way to get them the list of things that, or have they already been given a list of things?
No, they have not. I don't believe a comprehensive list does not exist, to my understanding.
What we're trying to do is open up a line of communication between you guys and us.
That's fine.
To get this thing, kind of tightened up.
Okay.
Because I know it was a resort once upon a time. However, there's that document there will, as the sewer taps were removed and other things like that, it was, kind of diminished as a resort. And so please look that over, and Chris, get them something, a list of things, or Don, list of things we need to start with, and please come back as often as you can, give us an update.
Okay. And who can I meet with just to talk about what I need to go over with? Who do I make an appointment?
You probably have to talk to staff. I don't know, is that something you want to go over with them?
That'll
Is that something the
be
building
me, but
department-
I think we need to first figure out what needs to be addressed
Okay.
before an even staff meeting.
Well, hey, Chris, like I said at the last meeting, Jerry, I don't think you were here, but if there's zoned resort, okay, and since, for example, tonight we talked about a person wanting to build something in a B3 zone. When a zone is a zone, if the person today would have had the right size building setbacks, there's nothing we can do, our hands are tied. So this is a zone, a resort parcel, I believe, and if it is a home resort parcel and the business has been there since before we were a town, then it's a spade is a spade. So it's, to me, a slippery slope, because we've got other establishments identical to this that have had marinas, including marinas that have had their way prior to us being a town. So I just don't know, like I said last time, I can't remember the term I used, if the push is worth the squeeze or something. It's like, what is our goal? Is more my question.
It's
They have an establishment, it's been owned by this family for years, and I feel like we're just, you know, we need to know what we want to do first, because to me, this is no different than any other establishments like it, including our marina. So it's a trick bag.
Well, John, I'm quite aware of your discussions when I wasn't here 2 weeks ago, but we'll get to that a little later. Your advocacy for this has been discussed, that exact point has been discussed many times. However, I don't think you're comparing apples to apples. The marina owners have voiced their opinion about this. I know we don't have jurisdiction over the lake, but the lack of developmental standards, blacktop parking, all these little things. I don't know that this was ever really a marina. The sign dictates otherwise. I think that...
It'll open up a can of worms with all the other, the town club is gonna open a can of worms, it's gonna open up a can of worms everywhere else around the marina. That's my point. If it's zoned the way it is, I don't get it.
Yeah, well, the can of worms, John, is also all the other lakefront property owners that are renting boat slips. That's the can of worms. I started out.
What's wrong with that?
I started out with asking for clarity, and this is what it's snowballed into. We have a lot of history. I believe that, quite frankly, this was explained to you in the very recent past that we're not comparing apples to apples. This is it's a big piece of property of substantial income, and bringing it into some kind of compliance with improvements, I don't think is too much to ask. And if the elected officials are choosing not to do that, that's fine, but we need some clarity on the matter. And since we're close to the subject, you used the phrase 2 weeks ago that I didn't quite appreciate. However, I will share a personal story matter because.
Well, Jerry, you know, you have the permission, of course, to the president. You represent all of us. We're all commissioners. We're all equals. We appoint you to run the meetings. And you, of course, as president, have the ability to put something on the agenda. And I was the person you put it on the agenda. So I apologize to you about that. But I feel like you run around town picking on things quite often because you are the president, and it's really not our commissioner's duties just to become a code enforcement officer.
Well, you know, John.
So if you didn't do it, I even apologize for that.
Well, John, you know, you used the phrase personal vendetta. I apologize for these delays. You used the word personal vendettas, and I'm not sure what, if any, such thing you can come to light with. Hey, listen, you got to talk last week. I'm talking. John?
Yeah, I get it. Zero, Jerry. That was hypothetical. It was hypothetical. There was none in particular whatsoever.
Okay. Well, it was made quite clear to me over the last several months that you've been painting such a picture. And the strangest people have shared that with me. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Many moons ago, I was on the lake very late one night, frozen, and I helped Denny Palmer carry a stretcher off the lake with a person who was badly injured. So if you want to call this personal, I'm not sure it's the kind of personal you're talking about. I ask questions about things. You sit in here and you say, let those people behind the wall take care of it. Well, there's a lot of things behind the wall that aren't being taken care of. It sets horrible precedences, and quite frankly, deviating from our codes and our ordinances that our taxpayers expect us to follow in any benefit to individuals, other than the taxpayers, is a bit, almost a little unethical. Corresponding with developers off-site, the golf course, the clubhouse, wherever, I think it's a little unethical, and, you know, you and I should probably talk about this in private. The Samaras, I think, need to,
Well, you don't have to worry about any of that happening whatsoever. I'm a town councilman, people call me, they ask me questions, I tell them our zoning rules.
okay.
So you don't have to worry about me doing anything unethical on that front, I can tell you that.
Okay,
All
well,
I'm trying to get to is,
I understand.
RT zoning, or, you know, they're zoned for what they're doing, and they've had the restaurants there, and I'm not in support of or against. I just feel we're gonna open up cans of worms at other nice places like Town Club, North Point Marina, Pinecrest Marina, et cetera. That's my whole theory behind it.
I understand exactly what you're saying. These other places have been marinas, I don't know for how long. I wanted this discussion opened. If nobody wants to do anything about it, then nothing will get done about it. However, it does open the door for anarchy, and when the lake is finished being dredged, it will be twice as bad. So, that's kind of my thought. If anybody has, I totally understand the can of worms, John, you're talking about. And if nobody wants to go fishing with them, that's fine.
Question,
Yes, sir.
I'd like some clarification. When a business comes into town, what do they have to do before they can open up and start selling their buggy whips?
If they're not doing any major modifications to the building and they don't need to come before the Plan Commission or the BZA, they're plugging right in. We don't have a business license, so.
Do they have to come into,
They have to come in and get the utilities turned on and put in their name.
so then the town is notified then the town is notified that there's a business in town?
Yeah.
They don't have to explain, as long as it says, like John says, resort, as long as they're gonna run a resort, and they're not doing any modifications, they don't even really have to do anything other than get utilities turned on,
Utilities and an occupancy permit.
and an occupancy permit. So therefore, the town is notified that there's a business. Okay, now, my understanding, and excuse me for being a little ignorant on all this, because I've only been in town for about 23 years. This marina has been closed for several years? No? That was my
We've always
understanding
had
it
boats
was.
tied up.
Pardon?
There's always been boats coming and going.
Were you operating it as a marina?
I would have to ask my sister, Natalie.
That's ultimately the question.
Okay.
No, I need to pro or con on this right now. But what I'm saying is, if it has been not operating as a marina, say, for 2 years, would they still have to come in and let the town know they're gonna reopen and comply, that they're complying with everything in the ordinances now?
Does the marina itself, as an independent business, have a water or sewer tap or a building that would require an occupancy permit?
I'm just saying, you know,
That, my assumption would be probably not, so I don't believe that we would have a document that would say when they stopped and when they didn't. We would have documents that would, if they had buildings on there that were tied into our utilities, when those buildings tapped in, how long they were paying their permit for, and how long they had occupancy, or how long they were paying their utility bills for, and occupancy.
well, my point is, you know, there's where I think the town's remiss in not having a business license. I really do, and I've said this before. You know, it provides a couple things. It's gonna provide some income. First, it lets the town know who is operating the business, what kind of business it is, and all the other things that go with that. Number two, it brings in some revenue. With that revenue, you can fund your code enforcement, who I feel is, it's their job to go around and check on, maybe there's questions on this property, I don't know, apparently there is. And then code enforcement can be notified by whoever, Jerry, me, you, whoever, and go out and check on it. So I think we need to get down to brass tacks, and like you said, is she in violation of anything or not? I strongly think the town council should look into, we got a couple members here, into getting a town license so that they know the business is coming in and leaving and what have you. And if it's been closed for a couple of years, not saying it was, but I'm just saying if the business has been closed for a couple of years, therefore they haven't been buying the license for a couple of years. So when they go to reopen, they have to buy another license. The town knows what's going on. I think that is a big problem in this town. The other thing is, who polices this? Code enforcement, right?
A little bit of code enforcement, a little bit of building inspectors.
What, is it a commission or a zoning board or town council? No, it's police department who runs the code enforcement, correct?
Could you restate the question?
Who polices the zoning ordinances and codes in town?
The building department with the help of code.
Code enforcement. Okay, I'm just trying to find out if my job description states, being on this, states that I can go around and police.
Fire department does as well yearly.
Fire inspection, yeah.
Yeah.
But that, they wouldn't necessarily do underlying zoning issues.
Well, they'd know if they're open though, right?
They would know if there's a building open, but this has multiple businesses on it, and the marina itself, I'm assuming, does not have a structure or a building that they would go in and inspect. Much less they would pull occupancy or have
And that's kind of the question here. We know it's been a resort, some of us know it's been a resort for
My
many,
parents
many
spent for
moons.
68 years,
So I'm in church all the time.
and it's been a resort before that.
Yes. But this marina
Mm-hmm.
is where all these discussions have started.
Okay.
And that's the two businesses, is a marina part of a resort? I don't know that we have anything that says such. That's why we need to get this cleared up.
Okay.
We need to get it cleared up. Developmental standards they go on forever.
Okay.
Blacktop.
I'll meet with Chris.
Yeah, that would be good, and that'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be great. We gotta get this conversation started so we can get to the end of it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Jerry, can I also make a
Yeah,
comment?
come on up, Ralph, please.
Ralph Miller, 13338 Fulton Street, Ward 4, Constable. The Samara family talked to me 4 or 5 years ago. We started building things back up. Hey, Ralph, we want to improve the hill. Ralph, we want to improve our property. What do we do? My answer to them was, meet with Jill.
We did.
They have been meeting with Jill, to my knowledge. Jill did not have any complaints to me. I have heard next to nothing as far as complaints about the property. I believe that the Samara family wants to work with the town to improve. Marie and I was talking, last couple of months, about them building a new restaurant, another new business coming to Cedar Lake. That's great, another new building.
Amen.
I believe that the Samara family wants better for the town of Cedar Lake, wants to work with us. I believe that Chris will work with them, and I hope that we can just kind of work through these problems.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
We just have to get it all dialed in. Because if we can't get this on track, how can we impose any accountability on the next person at the podium?
I would ask one question.
Yes, sir.
how long have you known that there's been a problem?
I haven't.
Thank you. That's my point.
Yeah.
Nobody contacted her.
Well, then, back to that, Jill said stuff,
Yeah.
perhaps I wasn't told something accurate.
No, that's all I'm saying is,
Now, I heard about the restaurant, I never saw the restaurant, I asked to see the restaurant many times, I know this has been being worked through.
all that I wanted to do is, I thought in my head that I would get that answer from her. That's why I wanted her to be able to say it, that they're not trying to do something behind our back.
No, I understand.
Thank you.
There was some other,
Mr. President?
when you have time, Mr. Miller,
Yes.
there's,
Ralph, don't go away.
Okay.
Ralph, come on back.
Okay.
yes, Mr. Ross.
You know, most problems, in my experience, in my business world, arise when communications break down. Communications broke down here. The request for information, documentation, period, public records, stuff that should have been in a box here somewhere stored or in the cloud maintained or wherever it was, it took 6+ months to get. It was impossible, Ralph, to get the information from the person who was responsible for that information. And in fact, on her way out the door, left it for us. That's where we got the information. So when people ask questions about what the background is, the information that you began eliciting tonight from Ms. Samara begins, that's the opportunity to learn something and not have mystery. The fact that you couldn't get, we couldn't get, I was asked to get it from town staff and could not get that documentation. That's wrong. It's public record.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for it for anything other than to make a list and assess what was there and give a report to people. So, there's a lot that went wrong here internally. And when it's a mystery, people can append anything into it they want, and it becomes a mirage of some sort. So, and your name came up a lot in those requests. So I want you to know that on the record here also, so there's no mystery.
Ralph and I had some correspondence in emails.
I just looked at some emails.
Prior to a medical issue, and we never resurrected that conversation. Ralph's familiar, he's a lake guy, he knows what the sunsets are like. He's almost an adjacent property owner, it's a beautiful piece of property. We just need to get this communication open and get marching down a road that's gonna work out for everybody and create some, I hate to use the word accountability, but accountability.
And there's no secret, this is a prominent parcel of commercial real estate in our town, and I just looked at
One of the biggest.
I've just looked at some documents here showing what a building could look like on the property, and that's great, that's impressive, it's what we want. But when you don't know it, everything foments bad, and that's what happened here. So,
Yep, that's why we need to get talking.
Okay.
Get going.
thank you.
I just have a comment and question. The comment was, with the restaurant, it was a concept. And my question is, I noticed on the map there that we're not zoned resort on that map. Why is it not?
That's an overlay.
By zoning.
Is that the replacement map?
Yes.
Multi-zone parcel.
Okay.
Multi-zone parcel.
Multi-zone. That's several different zoning.
So then we're still considered.
You're still, yeah.
RS
I
is
think-
one of them.
Yeah, I think you're still in the window.
Yep.
Nobody changed anything on you.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion, comments on the Melody Hill Marina? Anyone? Mr. Foreman?
No, sir, everything's good with me.
Okay. All right, item 3, Beacon Point, Unit 4, performance letter of credit expires June 11th.
I have update. Jack emailed me during the meeting, actually. He says they're planning a 6-month extension prior to expiration. I'll let them know that we have a timeline though.
Yeah, don't forget,
Yep.
6/6.
Yep.
Okay, update item 4, Larson Danielson, People's Bank, performance letter of credit expires August 9th, 2022. Don, that letter of credit is for public improvements, correct?
That is only public improvements.
Only
I
public
think it was
improvements.
extended for 6 months already because they couldn't get concreted in time. I think it's
Okay.
done, but
All right.
yeah, that one should be okay.
Item 5, Rose Garden Estates, Unit 3, performance letter of credit expires August 22nd, 2022. What's, is that,
Lennar.
is that a probability problem?
No. They have requested inspections for Unit 1. They haven't requested anything for Unit 3 yet,
Okay.
so.
I do have a question about the Rose Garden Estates project in whole. Are all the amenities, and/or assurances for those amenities to be completed, is that all kind of falling into place? Because we're already in phase 3, and, I haven't had anybody.
They needed to, if I remember the PUD agreement off the top of my head, they needed to at least start construction of their swimming pool, kind of community building by, I think, the 100th lot occupancy.
Where are they at with that?
No idea. I think they're building it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We
Well, I haven't heard-
we saw plans last year on it, so.
Well, the concept plan, the plans we saw.
We actually saw full-on building plans for it.
Okay, right. I was just wondering.
It was along from that perspective, from design. We saw full MEP plans for it, which were significant for the pool.
Okay.
So,
Well,
I don't know if it's gotten off the ground yet or not.
Are there any bonds or assurances for
No,
those
that's
things?
just a commitment with the PUD development agreement. That was, I'm pretty confident that was part of that agreement, when it had to go in.
And their approval was based on their submittal and exhibits, so if they have to build everything they said they were gonna build,
Yes,
the size they said they were gonna build.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean, the other amenities were walking paths around their pond. Those, I believe, are in.
okay, good,
The signage that says that, I was by there Sunday.
good. Good, okay. Let's see, item 6, Great Oak Storage, Lot 1, maintenance letter of credit expires September 4th. That
That is just
does that have to
getting,
be, does that have to be extended? Or
Probably
the
not.
Performance is what this last phase is, right?
well, this is maintenance.
Right.
So-
Say performance would be the last phase?
Well, maintenance is the last phase. So this is for the water main extension,
Oh, okay, all right.
and only. So it's really just getting Public Works to sign off on it, make sure everything's in working order.
Okay, what I meant by phase, I meant the last phase of the building project, that's what I meant.
Yeah, this is really isn't related to that.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else? Thoughts, comments?
I've got a couple quick comments.
Okay,
First, I'm completely with you on the business license. You and I should spearhead that up.
We've discussed that on this board in the past, right?
We've discussed it a zillion.
it wasn't about collecting money, it was about keeping
No,
track.
it was about a small I suggested a very small registration fee. I'm a business owner as well. I have no problem paying it. It holds me accountable as a business owner, gives the town the knowledge of who I am and how to contact me. And it also puts a little money in our fund to extra code enforcement or whatever we may need it for. Don't most towns have a business license?
No.
And I came from a community that had one, and I would say the idea that the business license will generate enough money to pay for even a part-time code enforcement agent is not there.
In my opinion, it's more about accountability. But, secondly, I appreciate you separating the agenda how you did.
Yeah.
So I worked with Cliff because the previous program was getting really faulty, it wasn't loading correctly, some iPads weren't loading at all. And with the switch to a different server, we were able to create this packet to where all the items can be displayed out differently.
I just wanted to say thank you for that. It's much easier to stay on track and look for things in between.
Are you gonna do the same thing for the BZA?
Yes, sir.
Right on.
You would know that.
Really do the old system.
No, I would. Down to BZA. Oh, I don't have to say that. I'll be over there. We got a guy to sit in the middle for that.
Do you?
Yeah, we got a guy. Okay, is there any public comment? Any questions, any concerns? Any,
Hello, Richard Teal, 13212 Wicker Avenue, AKA the Guards Building. Couple of questions. First off, I want to know if there's any special, I'm drawing a blank now, or consideration or extra credit for those that actually attend meetings that are not even on the agenda? Because I know a lot of people don't show up, you know.
We appreciate
Anyway.
you being here.
sooner or later, you're not gonna believe when I say it's free eats.
Yeah, so anyway, I understand that I can't get occupancy on units A and B until the retention pond is done, to specs. And I did speak to Don after, I believe, one of the BZA meetings.
No, it was one of these meetings.
One of these, yeah, I don't remember which one. I basically need to know, so it's more engineering question, what actually has to be done? Is there anything I can do as far as assurance or surety to, I got deadlines with the SBA, or the SBA as far as like July 1st for August funding. I mean, this has just been, you know, we closed in February, and if I gotta go and get the stuff done myself, I owe Hens money for some of the work that was done, that I'll just withhold funds that I owe them and get the stuff done myself.
Yeah, I mean, the pond needs to be as-built again, and Rob was informed of this on the 5th.
And I know he's in Florida till next week, but I mean, I'm pushing deadlines and stuff like that keeps a month.
Let's put it this way, this is the last leverage the town holds to have the site be built as approved.
Right.
Once we start handing out building occupancy permits, we kind of lose that leverage.
Mr. Teal had asked me about this. I told him to come to the meeting and ask exactly this question.
If you want to deviate from that, it becomes a
No,
policy
no,
decision.
no.
Okay, go ahead.
I think what he wants to do is provide assurance and/or do these things so he can get occupancy and then deal with the original builder on his own.
Define assurance.
What is the
When I hear
value, what is the
assurance,
value,
yes,
what is the value of the things that have to be done?
I don't know if that's value.
Well, more so also, I'm told it's not adequate enough as what it's supposed to be for retention. That doesn't tell me anything. I mean, I could go dig a shovel and dig a foot deep.
About 50% short from the last asphalt we saw.
Right.
And he said he cleaned it up, but the only way we can verify is ask for them to go out there and reshoot it. He said he spoke to DVG and that they are aware of it and they will do it, but we haven't seen anything today.
Right, and I know they have not been out there, because I've been mowing and stuff like that, and there's no new stakes or anything.
Well, like I said, that email from Rob dated May 5th, it's almost been a month.
And I
know
spoke to him
DVG is
since then.
busy, yeah, so I don't know what the hang of it.
And it looked like something got scraped around, but to me, 50% doesn't seem like what was done was, it just looked like there was a little bit of cleanup done.
Yeah.
So the question still remains,
Yeah.
if he takes care of these things, can he get occupancy?
There would have to be some surety.
He has to take care of those things. He owns the property. The other arrangements are contractual and/or post-contractual, and he'll need to deal with the other party.
Yeah.
But you're legally now responsible. You stepped into the shoes of the person who sold you the property.
That wasn't built the way it should have been. Right.
I didn't say.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
But you bought it without occupancy.
And that's
Correct. That's the key here.
I also heard you offer to make it right and do the right thing, and you're asking what exactly needs to be done in order to
Yeah,
do that.
because I know the correspondence with Don and Hen doesn't tell me anything other than when I spoke to Don that it's, 50% off, so that does, so now I'm relying on somebody else to get something done that I need done like now.
So how does he get that information to do his job?
I mean, one of the ways you could do is provide an actual fiscal surety for it. So if it's not built within a certain amount of time, we can pull on it and build it ourselves.
Now we're back to the cost estimate
Yeah.
that he needs.
And that's what, and if he's got somebody who can look at that drawing and dig it, and get it done, or provide a surety as cost estimate, that's how this whole.
I would have McAllister's do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter from our perspective who does it, it's the fact that it gets done.
Yeah.
And we need some type of surety to hold you to it, you know, for, you know, long range.
I think he's willing to do that at this point. We just need to tell him exactly what those things are.
But like,
Does that take a motion?
as soon as possible.
Or can that be done outside of this body?
Yeah, we don't direction to you.
Okay.
Does anyone see a reason why Don should not give Mr. Teal any of this information? So he can get this job
So
done?
however we can help him, he wants to open up a business in the town. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not his
Two
problem.
actually, so-
It's become your problem, but it shouldn't be your problem, so whatever we can do to help him.
But I can
all
take
day.
care of that myself.
We need you to get the building the way it needs to be.
Yeah,
What happens after that is your party.
absolutely.
And we can put a number to it.
So Chris Salatas can direct traffic as our town manager and get this done.
Yeah, we'll, I'll work with Chris.
Do you have the design? I mean, you got an electronic form?
Yeah,
that you
we
could-
can approved plan. Yeah,
Okay.
so we
All
can
right.
compare that.
The sooner he can get those, the sooner he can get them to the people who can make it happen.
Yeah.
And then there was a list of things, the swale by the dumpster or something, the
They're
blacktop.
all related to the fence transfer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Everything else has been met.
So everything is regarding the detention basin and everything around it?
Yep.
Okay. All right,
Will do.
I guess, this is another good news story.
See, so showing up to all the meetings does help.
Yeah, thank you.
Here you go.
I've got gold star stickers if you want.
All right, I'll take it.
That'd be great.
I got a shot stick.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Kapora, you seem to be, deep in thought.
I'm just taking everything in.
Okay, all right. Well,
Taking mental notes.
glad this meeting didn't start at 6. Mr. Roshan, any final thoughts?
No, I have nothing.
Okay, any other public comment? Anyone? Okay. Heather?
I think that's better now.
All right. Chuck? I know. You're still watching the water run.
Well, I was just thinking about, do you remember the trailer park right across from the boat launch?
Yes, yes. I remember the trailer park across the
Remember it
road.
was a trailer park for how many years?
Yes, yes.
After it was not in business for so many years, they wanted to start back up.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, I remember, that meeting, Natalie was here, Natalie Samara, Mr. Kubiak had, pretty well explained to her that things would have to be upgraded, updated, the choice up to code, and, things, nothing happened after that.
Well, that was also the meeting that about 30 people from Havenwood showed up at.
No, it wasn't Havenwood, it was the other Lee Street, back up the hill.
Okay, whatever street it was.
Yeah, Lee's Cove, that's it, yeah.
There was lots of them.
Yeah, yeah, because it was gonna be a campground and whatever, yeah, so.
But we gotta we need, be consistent.
Yeah, no, I got you, and keeping a little order doesn't hurt anything, you know, I understand Mr.
SOPs,
Yep.
standard operation procedure.
I understand Mr. Foreman's concerns about cans of worms, I totally get it, and, in my head, forecasting, the next 10 years, I don't wanna be thinking about anarchy. We have, a lot of conceptual projects have, been shared with me, kinda just off the record, that involve the lake, and, we gotta keep it in check. Keep one handle on it anyway, so.
Heard they're gonna put a floating pizza place in the lake. It's gonna be our 21st pizza place. Mexican
Mexican
taco
restaurant.
type pizza.
Yeah.
Mexican.
We used to have a boat that sold food out there, and we had no jurisdiction over it.
That's the dredging contractor, it's gonna come off the dredge.
I'm thinking we need a,
Floating
we need a libation station floating out there is what we need. That'd work too.
Steamboat.
Okay, anyone else have anything? No? Okay. All right, going once, going twice, meeting's adjourned. Have a good night.